Your top stories this evening, sponsored by Courts, bringing value home. Guyana government condemns unilateral bombing of Qatar by Israel. Elections 2025 fell short of free and fair. GHRA says win could reduce ethnic polarization. Aubrey Barker Road far from completion. EDGHILL says works ongoing, near completion. And Ministry of Health expands access to rehabilitation assistant training program after public backlash. HGP Nightly News begins now. Good evening to our viewers here in Guyana and online. I'm ALETHEA Grant with the Wednesday, 10th September 2025 edition of the HGP Nightly News. This is what you should know this evening. The government of Guyana has joined the international community in condemning a unilateral bombing by the Israeli Defense Force in Doha, Qatar, just about a mile from the Guyana embassy. Officials called the attack a clear violation of international law and a direct assault on Qatar's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Guyana says this military action does nothing to advance peace in Gaza or the broader Middle East. The government also highlighted Qatar's role as a consistent ally in fighting terrorism and in diplomatic efforts alongside the United States and Egypt to resolve the conflict. Guyana said it stands in full solidarity with the Emir and the people of Qatar and is urging full respect for international law as well as continued support for countries working to end the war in Gaza and combat global terrorism. It is the position of the Guyana Human Rights Association that the 2025 general and regional elections were peaceful but fell short of being free and fair. Here is more.
In a statement to the press, the Guyana Human Rights Association said none of the international election observer missions concluded that the elections met the standards of being free and fair. Quote, all observer missions highlighted the ruling People's Progressive Party's abuse of incumbency, citing the use of state media, state-owned property, government vehicles, and personnel to advance the party's campaign. Despite these advantages, the PPP fell short of securing a two-thirds parliamentary majority, with lower than expected voter turnout in its traditional strongholds, the GHRA said. According to the human rights body, GCOM's reliance on nominations from the major parties restricts its autonomy. Despite a unanimous agreement in 2000 on electoral reforms, significant changes have not been made, including converting regions into single constituencies. The GHRA pointed out that the People's National Congress reform, competing under the banner of the Partnership for National Unity, and the People's Progressive Party's main rival for over 60 years, experienced significant losses in its strongholds in Regions 4 and 10 as the newly formed We Invest in Nationhood Party made unexpected gains. According to the GHRA, Vice President Barjagdio's disappointment over PNC's decline as the main opposition party was evident. Quote, beyond policy positions, WIN's rise may help reduce decades-long ethnic polarization between Afro and Indo-Guyanese communities, an unexpected but welcome development. Meanwhile, the government, through its head of the Government Information's Department of Information, has attacked the GHRA, calling the human rights body anti-PPP, and that it has zero moral authority to pronounce on the credibility and transparency of the 2025 general and regional elections. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
The cybercrime law in Guyana is under scrutiny, and many are of the view that it could be weaponized and, if amended, be used to suppress freedoms. Calls continue to mount for safeguards against misuse, and banking on a stronger judiciary to curb misuse of the law is afoot. Marvin Cato reports.
The former APNU-AFC government brought into being Guyana's cybercrime law. Though the intentions may have been good, certain aspects of the legislation were deemed bad. In his inaugural speech on Sunday, President Irfan Ali hinted at going after persons, including media practitioners, with the introduction of amendments to the cybercrime laws. The government was forced under the spotlight of the Commonwealth, with the international organization urging the prevention of the misuse of the law to suppress online speech. Former Minister under the Partnership for National Unity, Cathy Hughes, highlighted the intent of the act.
The Cybercrime Act was really intended to protect illegal acts that are generated through computer systems.
The former minister contends that the law intended to address criminal acts, of which there are many, not to be used as a suppression tool. In its preliminary report released Monday evening, the Commonwealth Observer Mission said amid escalating attacks on free speech and the erosion of civic space, there is an urgent imperative to act decisively to safeguard freedom of expression and media freedom. Former Minister Hughes believes that repealing certain sections of the Act would erode freedom of speech in Guyana.
I would repeal sections 18 and 19. And as you probably know, Section 18 speaks to this offense of sedition.
Hughes stressed that the Act in itself could be amended, since there are sections that impede on the freedom of speech.
Under the Act, it reintroduced sedition and raised the penalties, of course, from 2 to 5 years. The challenge with the way it operates is that it is very subjective.
Hughes hinted that what is also troubling is the fact that the Attorney General has indicated that he will update the law again in relation to social media to suppress persons' freedom to express themselves in the social sphere.
The challenge is, as we've seen in recent time, it really now puts a tool in the hands of persons that want to suppress freedom of speech.
Marvin Cato reporting for HGP Nightly News.
Since the incumbent has consistently targeted businessman Azruddin Mohammed during the election cycle, it is intriguing to know how the People's Progressive Party and the We Invest in Nationhood will engage in a parliamentary discourse. Mohammed is slated to assume the position of leader of the opposition after his party won 16 seats in the National Assembly. Antonio Day reports.
It will be interesting to see what the 13th sitting of the National Assembly will be when convened, as new faces will emerge from the parliamentary opposition, consisting of the main opposition We Invest in Nationhood WIN, a Partnership for National Unity APNU, and for Guyana FGM. Nightly News has learned that the leading candidates for WIN at the parliamentary level, in addition to Azruddin Mohammed, are Tabitha Sarabrohali, Natasha Singh Lewis, Dawn Hastings Williams, and Vishnu Pandey, among other new faces. Though the party has remained tight-lipped on its parliamentary outfit and is committed to putting the needs of the Guyanese people first. Meanwhile, the businessman has been a primary target of the incumbent during the election cycle. It will be interesting to see what the parliamentary discourse will be, said historian and policy analyst Ronald Austin, Jr.
You now have an unprecedented circumstance where you have a party who has a leader who's on OFAC's sanction list.
Mohammed remains under United States sanctions, and Austin reminded that the government has already indicated its unwillingness to work with the WIN leader.
We now have that party in parliament with the largest number of seats other than the government. That has serious implications for the parliamentary agenda, because I don't think the government's posture will be one to ponder too much to that party. Again, I don't want to question the government's motive or what the government will do. I'm just making a reasonable assertion.
Bar Jagdeo, the General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party Civic, stated at a recent press conference that he's eager to collaborate with APNU, which won 12 seats in Parliament. Recently, U.S. Ambassador to Ghana, Nick Oterio, stated that the U.S. will find a way to work around Mohammed's sanctions. This means that the current sanction will not deter the businessman from making his parliamentary debut nor representation. Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
More news ahead. Stay with us. Welcome back with the HGP Nightly News. President Irfaan Ali has announced that he will soon meet with Surinamese President Dr. Jennifer Gerlings-Simons to advance discussions on key bilateral projects with the Quarantine River Bridge on top of the agenda. Find out more from Tiana Cole.
Very soon, President Irfaan Ali will be meeting with Surinamese President Dr. Jennifer Gerlings-Simons to advance discussions on shared priorities, including the Quarantine River Bridge. The head of state made the disclosure on the sidelines of the swearing-in ceremony of Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips and Vice President Dr. Barrett Jagdeo.
I think very early, maybe over this weekend, there'll be a face-to-face meeting with the President of Suriname. The ministries are working that out to advance these projects.
The President explained that his government has been holding discussions with the Surinamese minister on a number of ongoing programs, including the bridge and the long-standing issue faced by fisherfolk. Key discussions surrounding the Quarantine River Bridge remain a priority.
That is part of what we're discussing, the financing mechanism, how it will be structured, and those kind of things. That is what has to be finalized.
The head of state further emphasized that the upcoming meeting will help clarify and settle what Surinamese priorities are at this time.
This is indeed a priority that we have not heard any changes on.
The Guyana-Suriname Bridge, once completed, is expected to serve as a major link fostering stronger ties among South America and the Caribbean nations. It is projected to boost trade, enhance connectivity, and open up untapped opportunities in tourism. The bridge, which will span approximately 3.1 kilometers, will connect Mulisin Creek in Guyana to South Drain in Suriname, with a landing point on Long Island in the Quarantine River. Plans are also in motion to transform Long Island into a vibrant commercial hub and tourist destination. The envisioned duty-free zone will feature significant infrastructural developments, including hotels, recreational parks, shopping malls, farmers market, and a variety of entertainment facilities. Tiana Cole reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Major sections of the Aubrey-Barker Road project is yet to be completed, and a former member of parliament has chided the government for failing to complete this capital project in a timely manner. Antonio Day is on that story.
David Patterson, former Minister of Public Infrastructure, during a recent exclusive interview with Nightly News, criticized the incumbent regarding the protracted Aubrey-Barker Road project.
This government has never completed a major infrastructure project to the satisfaction of the people, never.
Large sections of the Aubrey-Barker Road remain incomplete. Nightly News did its own investigation and observed that certain sections of the road remains covered in loam and crush and run aggregate. Rehabilitation of the Aubrey-Barker Road, tuned at a whopping $1.4 billion, that runs through South Rheinveld in Georgetown, connecting the Ogle to Echoes Highway, commenced since 2022. And since then, residents are forced to live through major challenges. According to Councillor for Constituency Number 4, Kiwe Copeland, the project was expected to be completed since 2023. He acknowledged that while himself and residents do not oppose development, the protracted project is very inconveniencing for motorists and residents.
We've had so many issues whereby we have deterioration of roads while this contract is happening. Trucks are going in and out, going into the new Cummins Park scheme that are building at the back of South and also the back of Sapphire. And the maintenance of that road while these trucks are going through, that was the issue.
There are also sections of South Rheinveld where roads were not done to acceptable standards, Copeland noted.
While the Ministry of Public Works does this project of the expansion of Aubrey-Barker Road, that there will be small streets within Aubrey-Barker that will be done. What we've seen some being done, very substandardly as well. They've made good streets, broad streets into narrow streets, concrete. We call it concrete strips actually. And in some streets, you can't even drive off into your driveway.
Meanwhile, Minister with responsibility for Public Works, Juan EDGHILL, told Nightly News on Wednesday that the project is ongoing and nearing completion. Residents in the area in late 2024 protested the state of the Aubrey-Barker Road because of its deplorable condition, with the Ghana Fire Service forced to respond after debris was lit on the road. Deputy Police Commander of Region 4, Michael Kingston, was forced to negotiate with the residents and pleaded with them to disperse after assuring them that the relevant authorities would intervene. Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Guyana has joined the world in observing World Suicide Prevention Day, highlighting ongoing efforts to address mental health and prevent suicide across the country. Here again is Tiana Cole.
Guyana joined the global community in observing World Suicide Prevention Day under the theme Changing the Narrative on Suicide. The Ministry of Health said this year's theme challenges governments, institutions, families, and individuals to rethink how they speak about, respond to, and address suicide in their communities. Officials noted that transformation in Guyana is already underway through legislative reforms, inclusive governance, and community-centered initiatives aimed at tackling one of the country's most persistent public health concerns. A key milestone came in November 2022 with the passage of the Suicide Prevention Act, which decriminalized attempted suicide. The ministry described this move as a compassionate and long overdue step that reduced stigma, encouraged help seeking, and aligned Guyana with international commitments, including the 2023 Bridgetown Declaration on Non-Communicable Diseases and Mental Health. The act also established a National Suicide Prevention Commission, bringing together representatives from health, education, legal, social, religious, indigenous, and civil society sectors to coordinate suicide prevention efforts across the nation. In April 2024, the government launched the National Mental Health Action Plan and Suicide Prevention Plan 2024 to 2030. The strategy focuses on promoting mental health education, training healthcare providers, restricting access to means of suicide, improving surveillance, expanding services across regions, and strengthening follow-up care for vulnerable individuals. In May 2025, Guyana introduced its first 24/7 toll-free suicide prevention hotline, 915, offering confidential crisis intervention and mental health support. The ministry also launched a national mental health website and a quote-unquote Mental Health Matters animated series for children and adolescents as part of the broader quote-unquote Kind to Your Mind campaign. As World Suicide Prevention Day is observed, the ministry urges all Guyanese to replace silence with understanding, stigma with compassion, and punishment with care. Those in crisis are reminded that help is available 24/7 via the National Suicide Prevention Hotline at 915. Tiana Cole reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
We have more news for you. Stay tuned. Welcome back with the HGP Nightly News. As we continue, the unfinished Barmia Primary School is again making the headlines. It is almost 2 years behind schedule, and to date, it is yet to be handed over to the relevant authorities. Marvin Cato is on that story.
The Barmia Primary School remains unfinished 2 years and 2 months after the initial completion deadline, leaving upwards of 500 pupils still without a school for the 2025-2026 academic year. The Ministry of Local Government had indicated that the project, which is being executed by Statement Investment Inc. to the tune of $473 million, would be ready for the new school term. This past April, Statement Investment Inc. had indicated that the project was nearing completion with only minor plumbing, lighting fixtures, and electrical installations yet to be completed. However, while an inspection by the Regional Executive Officer, Dwight John, and project consultant Rudolph Anthony confirmed positive progress, Nightly News at that time verified through video footage and a well-placed source that certain external works, including the perimeter fence, remain incomplete. A source close to the project revealed that construction had been paused during December 2024 due to insufficient building materials, one of several obstacles that contributed to the prolonged delays. Despite this sizable investment, the project continues to miss multiple deadlines. Statement Investment Inc., that received the contract, is a company with a background in entertainment and sports. Nightly News made several attempts to contact Statement Investment Inc., but those attempts were futile. Marvin Cato reporting for HGP Nightly News.
The Ministry of Health has expanded 2 major healthcare training programs to include applicants from all 10 administrative regions. Jada Joan reports.
The Ministry of Health's Health Science Education Division is now accepting applications for both the Rehabilitation Assistant Training Program and the Audiological Practitioner Training Program, after initially facing heavy backlash from excluding eligible applicants from 2 of the 10 administrative regions. A promotional flyer for the Rehabilitation Assistant Training Program listed regions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9 as eligible, omitted regions 7 and 10. The exclusion sparked frustration among residents and leaders, particularly from regions 10, which have been advocating for greater access to healthcare resources, and region 7, where remote communities struggle to access specialized medical services. The backlash prompted the ministry to quickly revise and reissue the flyer, confirming that applications for both programs are now open to Guyanese aged 18 to 40, regardless of region. The Rehabilitation Assistant Program will run 1 year and aims to equip participants with the skills to assist physiotherapists, occupational therapists, and other rehabilitation professions in supporting patients' recovery. Graduates of the program will be required to serve 3 years in Guyana's public health system. The 1-year audiological practitioner training program focuses on training specialists to identify and manage hearing and balance disorders, which is an area in healthcare that needs more attention. Both programs require at least 4 CSEC or CXC subjects for entry, grades 1 to 3, while applicants with certifications such as GED, the Scottish Credit and Qualifications Framework, or Bachelor's Foundation program are also eligible. The ministry is encouraging young people from every corner of Guyana, including insular communities, to apply before September 20th deadline. Jada June reported for HGP Nightly News.
7 doctors from the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation are heading to China for advanced training as part of a new health collaboration between Guyana and the People's Republic of China. Here again is Jada June.
Another chapter in medical education and international cooperation has opened as the GPAC, in partnership with the Ministry of Health, launched a 6-month health personnel training program on Tuesday at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation's Research Center. The initiative will see Guyanese doctors undergoing 3 months of theoretical training in Guyana, followed by 3 months of intensive hands-on practical sessions in China. This bilateral effort aims to strengthen Guyana's healthcare system by equipping medical personnel with advanced skills and exposure to cutting-edge technology. Delivering remarks, Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony described the program as high-level and vital for capacity building in the health sector. Georgetown Public Hospitals Corporation's Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Robbie Rambaran, echoed similar sentiments but emphasized the significance of the training for both the hospital and the country's healthcare sector.
Upskilling, capacity building is very essential, especially with the kind of investment that we are making in healthcare, new hospitals, new buildings.
The 7 doctors who expressed gratitude for being selected described the opportunity as both life-changing and an honor.
When I got through, I was pretty excited about it because I know that the skills that the Chinese doctors bring here, it's more advanced.
Getting those skills I can improve. Teaching, because I'm the coordinator of the residency program, so we can now introduce that to residents and overall improve the healthcare.
These initiatives underscore the government of Guyana's dedication to building medical expertise through international partnerships. Jada June reported for HGP Nightly News.
Stay tuned for regional news.
Good evening and welcome to Wednesday's edition of the Regional News. No state resources will be wasted searching the sea for bodies of Venezuelans killed by the United States military in the drug interdiction exercise last week, says Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar. The Prime Minister stressed that Trinidad and Tobago's duty ends with recovering any carcasses that wash ashore. She was responding to a call by Colombian President Gustavo Petro on the government of Trinidad and Tobago to search for the remains of the 11 men killed in a lethal strike by the U.S. military on a vessel allegedly carrying drugs into the southern Caribbean. Police have yet to identify the 2 bodies which washed ashore over the weekend. Persad-Bissessar said she plans to have face-to-face meetings with U.S. officials while in New York later this month. The Prime Minister will be making her first official trip to attend the United Nations General Assembly in New York, which take place from September 23 to 29. Two Brazilian Supreme Court justices on Tuesday voted to convict former President Jair Bolsonaro of leading a criminal conspiracy to overturn the 2022 election, as they cast their first votes in the first phase of the ex-president's trial. The five-judge panel is now one vote away from a majority convicting Bolsonaro of orchestrating an attempted coup to remain in power after his 2022 electoral defeat to leftist president Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. The charges stem from a federal police investigation that uncovered the alleged plot, including plans to poison Lula and his running mate. Bolsonaro stands accused of taking part in an attempted criminal organization, attempting to violently abolish democracy, organizing a coup, and damaging government property and protected cultural assets. His lawyers have maintained his innocence on all counts. The charges are tied to Bolsonaro's alleged incitement of riots in January 2023, when thousands of his supporters stormed and ransacked the Congress, Presidential Palace, and Supreme Court in Brasilia, the capital. And now for some international news. Protesters beat and burned ministers in their homes as an anti-corruption row in Nepal pushed the country's youth to breaking point. The government blocked access to several social media platforms last week over misuse, including false accounts used to spread fake news, hate speech, and to commit fraud. The uprising and subsequent crackdown, which left 19 dead and 500 injured on Monday after police opened fire on a crowd, forced Nepal's communist prime minister, KP Sharma Oli, to resign the next day. The social media ban was also lifted on Tuesday, but the protest continued. Fueled by rage over the deaths, protesters stormed government buildings, attacked ministers in the street, and set fire to the Prime Minister's house. Thank you for watching. I am Tiana Cole.
Guyana government condemns unilateral bombing of Qatar by Israel. Elections 2025 fell short of free and fair. GHRA says win could reduce ethnic polarization. Aubrey Barker Road, far from completion. EDGHILL says works ongoing, near completion. And Ministry of Health expands access to rehabilitation assistance training program after public backlash. Those are our major headlines. For these stories and more, please go to our website. It's www.hgptv.com. I'm ALETHEA Grant. Thanks for watching.